Hello, and welcome to the Orlando World Sunday Showdown round of 64. This week is a fairly unique contest, with a full water park attraction going head-to-head with a roller coaster, with Wet n Wild going up against Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. The former water park, Wet n Wild, was located on the corner of International Drive, on the site currently home to Universal's Endless Summer Resort. It originally opened on the 13th of March, 1977. It featured over 17 slides and a large pool, along with some water play areas, and lazy river. The park was the most attended water park in the United States until 1999, when Walt Disney World Resort's Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach surpassed it. At the time, it was averaging around 1.3 million visitors for several years. In the late 90s and beyond, in order to compete with the Disney-branded water parks, Wet n Wild went through some extensive refurbishment of its slides, and began a large expansion, taking the park from around 20 acres, to its final size of 30 acres. The park was popular for almost 4 decades, being labelled as a classic water park, featuring a wide variety of slides to cater for people of all age groups. Meanwhile, the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train opened on the 21st of May, 2014. It was built as part of the Fantasyland expansion, located in the old site of both the original 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Submarine Voyage, and Puss Playful Spot attractions. The roller coaster is aimed at the younger generation, being rated similarly to the likes of the Barnstormer ride and Thunder Mountain. It reaches speeds of 34 miles per hour as it rumbles around the 2,000-foot circuit, in ride vehicles that are designed to rock and rumble around, giving the sensation of being on a rickety old mine train track. The attraction is consistently heavy in wait times, being one of the most popular attractions at Magic Kingdom. The ride seems to be quite compact, and feels much faster than it is, thanks to the unique build of the ride vehicles, and the wacky layout of the track. So, let's see how both of these very different attractions fare against each other in this week's episode. Now let's get straight to it, as we head into the first round. Wet n Wild operated for 39 years. It was billed as the world's first true water park. It originally operated for the first couple of years at a financial loss, but eventually, the central location became a pinnacle point of the park's success, when it regularly attracted over 1.3 million guests a year. For almost 4 decades, it was one of the highest attended water parks in America. The Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, however, is a fairly new attraction, opening as part of a large expansion to Fantasyland. It has currently been operational for over 5 years, and is consistently one of the most favourable attractions at Disney's Magic Kingdom. It is immensely popular, and will likely be a marquee attraction within the park like Thunder Mountain has been for decades. So in round 1, 4 years in service, it's a point to the water park as we go into round 2. In terms of themes and storylines, Wet n Wild wasn't a park that had much in these areas. It was themed slightly to that of a beach or island theme, with sandy areas and palm trees, with mostly generic landscaping which was seen at most theme parks. Over the years, with some refurbishments, the park did re-theme some of its slides, making them more prominent to look at, adding bright colours, lights, and adding a more modern aesthetic, giving the park a more fun, and as the name suggested, a wetter and wilder feel. But overall, as a small theme park, it wasn't overly themed. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, though, was themed to the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs Tale, taking some elements from the old Snow White's Scary Adventures ride that was a former Fantasyland attraction. The Mine Train coaster was themed very similarly to that of Splash Mountain and Thunder Mountain, and featured both an external and internal track, which was themed well. The coaster passed through a fun mine, with dwarfs singing their songs, and lots of gems brightening the dark cave, with some show scenes similar to Splash Mountain. The theming makes the ride fun, and adds a good level of excitement to the ride. So for the second round, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train levels the score going into round 3. Wet n Wild enjoyed a regular attendance during its years of operation. It was often at full capacity during peak seasons, even with the additional expansion and upgrading of slides over the years. The park had a maximum capacity of 8,000 people, with many slides capable of high-capacity rider counts throughout the day. In this round, although we see two very different attractions, capacity is still counted at the maximum available capacity per hour. In terms of capacity, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train operated at a maximum capacity of 3,000 riders per hour. The coaster was shorter than many, and with a few show scenes throughout the ride. The coaster track was able to accommodate 5 trains with 5 cars on the track at any one time. The trains were arranged with riders sitting in rows of 2, with a total of 20 riders per train. So for capacity, the water park is able to hold a lot more people, and the coaster ride, although having a much higher hourly capacity compared to many other attractions, in this contest, just can't compete with the large capacity of Wet n Wild, so going into the 4th round, Wet n Wild retakes the lead. Let's move on now to round 4. Wet n Wild in its earlier years, before the monopolization of the Walt Disney World Resort in the mid-90s, was immensely popular, so much so, that the Wet n Wild brand expanded to many other water parks around the country. Visitors to the International Drive area would regularly see the slides and the waiting lines absolutely jam-packed with riders waiting to ride. The location of the park was ideal, as it attracted a lot of footfall, and the landscaping outside of the park was enticing to the public, helping to fill the park regularly. Although Wet n Wild was sold to Universal, it continued to be popular, but with ambitious plans for a new water park in the Universal Orlando Resort area, and the planning of a new theme park, now known as Epic Universe, it was no longer the must-do attraction it once was. However, it is affectionately known as the original and best water park in Florida. With a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride, and Winnie the Pooh play area long gone, the expansion of Fantasyland needed a fast and thrilling ride. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train brought that, and has been ever popular since it first launched. It is regularly at near full capacity, and tends to be one of the more popular attractions at Magic Kingdom. Many fans of the attraction rate it highly, and have applauded Disney for its ability to reintroduce some elements from previous attractions, bringing a bit of nostalgia into a new and exciting ride. The ride is extremely popular with young families, as it offers a high thrill value for younger riders, while still being entertaining enough for older riders. The ride system makes it fun to ride, with unique train movements. So in round 4, to level the score for a second time, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train takes the point, as we now go into the 5th and final round. Wet n Wild as a water park was quite thrilling. There were many fun slides within the water park, but without the theming, compared to theme park attractions, each attraction only offered so much in terms of thrills. As a water park though, there weren't many better water parks in Florida. The park had a number of different slides, some high twisting slides, and some fast chute type slides, all offering various levels of thrills. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train in terms of roller coaster thrills is fairly tame. But given that it's a family-friendly coaster, it offers a surprisingly high thrill factor. Due to the unique movements of the mine train cars, which pivot, rock and sway with every turn, which adds another dimension to the ride, making riders feel as though they are riding on a runaway mine train, despite being on a very smooth train. As much as Wet n Wild was a fantastic and much-loved attraction in Orlando, running for 4 decades, by today's standards it falls a bit behind some of the newer water parks, and with the mine train attraction being better themed, it does offer a little more as an individual ride than the Wet n Wild water park. So ending the contest, we now have a winner. Looking at the results, the Snow White themed attraction advances to the next round. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train advances to the round of 32. Join us next time, where we see Disaster go head-to-head with Transformers The Ride 3D. See you next week. We hope you enjoy this video. Please support us by subscribing to our channel. You can find us on social media platforms. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Orlando Worlds, and on Instagram at The Orlando Worlds. Thanks for watching.